All right, good evening and welcome to Sunday Evening Coffee. Sitting across the table from me tonight is my beautiful wife, Crystal. Say hello, babe.
Hello, world.
And tonight we have Jack and Tammy Scalfani. Not Scalfani, not Scalfini, Scalfani.
He's awesome.
So are you Irish? Is that what that last name is? I'm Irish.
Yeah. My cousin Guido will thank you for that. Yeah, my Irish cousin Guido.
Oh yeah, there's some. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And as Del Giorno said, we have Jennifer and Jason Zach over at the kiddie table. They can lean down. They can lean down so people on YouTube can see. Oh man! So thank you guys for coming back and joining us on Sunday Evening Coffee tonight. We're sipping a lot of different stuff. So some of us have decaf, and that is Pete's. And then some of us have regular, and that is actually 8 o'clock coffee. Crystal bought some 8 o'clock coffee this week. We've been drinking it.
Buy one, get one at Publix.
That's right. And since we don't have a coffee sponsor yet,
we're open to suggestions.
Yeah, that's right. So
It's good. I like it.
Yeah, it is good coffee. We still my favorite's still Seattle's Best for our day-to-day coffee. But man, I'm telling you, Pete's is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we went to Maggiano's.
Yeah.
And we did they have Lavazza, which is Italy's number one coffee. You can order the K-Cups online. And we just had 42 of them delivered. Oh. And it's just as good.
Yeah.
That sounds
So
fancy.
it's our new favorite.
Lavazza.
They put away for just special people.
Yeah.
Like everyday coffee.
Yeah.
So if we came
parents-
to your house, we would know our rank based on the coffee.
The coffee that you get.
Yeah, I'll rip the label of Lavazza and put it on Seattle's Best.
Oh. I think that was a burn.
No, I'm just looking at her. She's you're our A-list. It's okay.
So Jack and Tammy, so crazy thing. So I'll give some credit not only to Jack but to a couple people because of our podcast and this. I reached out to Jack. We met from church. Jack and Tammy go to church with us, and Jack and they'll get into their story, but Jack is a YouTube sensation. So, I mean, he is on YouTube. He has hundreds of thousands of followers.
He's kind of a big deal.
He is a big deal.
Is he?
We're going to get you a shirt that says I'm kind of a big deal.
Oh, I'm just big. Yeah, she's deal. I'm a big deal.
So, like me, Jack is a foodie. And, I mean, I love food. If you know me, if you've been watching this at all, you know I love food. I really love it. Jack loves food too. And so I've recorded a couple episodes with Jack on his Jack on the Go show and Cooking with Jack. And
Not
hits.
all those comments were nice. It was a little hard to hear.
Not for me.
Some feedback. I know. I was like, I can't look at all this
I
stuff
loved
because I
it.
want to go beat people up.
I know.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you never read YouTube? Never. I never look.
Yeah.
I never look.
Do you really know?
I know. I stopped. I stopped this year.
Yeah, I would have
I
to.
couldn't
No,
handle it.
I like it.
I couldn't
I
handle it
can't
anymore. Yeah.
It just fires me up. I want to go hurt
Yeah.
people, which is
Okay.
not godly. I know. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is Italian. Oh, you have Italian in you.
No.
So tell everybody where all they can find you at.
They can just search YouTube Cooking with Jack show, or they can do Jack on the Go.
Yep.
And you had some great episodes, by the way.
Thanks.
You were one of my highest views. So, yeah, it went really well. And it's just kind of a real bunch of guys getting together, whether we're cooking in the kitchen or
And girls.
Or girls, yeah.
Yes.
Or we're eating burgers or whatever, or steak, or, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is fun. And the thing that I love about it, with so many of the cooking shows, people try so hard to be just, this amazing chef. And Jack's just Jack. He's like, I don't know. We'll see what this does. I mean, and I love that. It's
Which
just
is real world. That's that's real life.
And I think that's what's so appealing. So,
do you have any products that people can order?
Yes, that's what I was
or
getting
don't
ready
you
to say.
have- Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the reason why we made the cooking show was to promote the products.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a line of sauces. It's called the Best Barbecue Sauce You'll Ever Taste. And then there's hot and teriyaki and gourmet seasoning. And we developed the show to say, hey, here's how you peel potato. And by the way, buy my sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And the show took off. And we didn't do the show to take off. We did the show to sell sauce.
So it was secondary.
It became a beast. Yeah. And So,
And the teriyaki I love.
Oh, do you?
Our youngest daughter, she always, like, anytime we do vegetables, she's like, "Oh, are you going to put Jack's teriyaki sauce on there?"
Yeah, that's
So we
our
use that a
leader.
lot.
Yeah.
That's our leader.
It's all
in the
good
brand.
stuff, though. I mean, I'm impressed with all of it, and I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that to stroke your ego. I mean, if I didn't like it, I would tell you, but I do like it, and we.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
So again, to give some credit to Jack. So when I started this, when I decided that we were going to start this podcast, and we all started talking about it, Jack immediately said he would help out in any way that he could. He sat down and walked me through some video editing stuff and gave me some tips on YouTube. And so just a godsend. I mean, just right in the right moment. I mean, the week before we started, I sat down and Jack was just there to help. And he said, God has blessed me. And I told God as soon as I started this that I would give back. And that's what he did. And so he helped us kind of on the front end get this stuff going. So thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. And anybody listening to your show, same thing extends to them.
Yeah.
If they need help with anything I know, it's for them to know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So go check Jack out. Watch his videos. You'll like them, I promise.
Order his stuff. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Or if you're on the West Coast, go to Walmart and pick it up, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Yeah.
And I just want to throw in there that my wife is so much a part of it. And without her, none of this would exist. Not the cooking show. Nobody saw her behind the scenes accounting during the day and waitressing at night.
Yeah.
Doing 2 shows to launch both companies.
Oh, wow.
She deserves everything that she gets in life.
Are you just saying that because this is a marriage podcast?
No. oh, is this let me bring him other 3 wives. I didn't know it was a marriage podcast.
Sister wives.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Surprise.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I never, ever wanted to just be me because I couldn't do it without her, and I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's great.
So people never see behind the scenes, but there's always somebody supporting you behind the scenes that deserves just as much, if not more, credit.
For sure. Well, so we'll dive in and kind of listen to Jack and Tammy's story. And they have an interesting story. I mean, from moving here from California to Jack already having a child when they got married, and to Jack, not having a conventional 9-to-5 job. So I mean, all those things just add up
totally
to
freak me out. Like
an interesting story. So, and Jack's a worshiper. Jack and Tammy both. Being on stage at church, I told Jack this. I love to watch them worship because Jack worships without abandon. I mean, it's just so I love it. So you guys jump in. Tell us who you are and just let everybody.
I'm going to ask the first question. How long have you been married?
We've been together since I was 19, and we got married in 98.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
So a few years.
16 years
Just
almost.
a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now jump in.
Okay.
Should we? All right, I'll start. Let me go back and then bring up to the
And just
to the
fast,
child.
'cause you'll be here
I'll
all
give
day.
you fast. Okay. So,
We'll
right.
edit it out.
Yeah.
all right, real quick. So here's the Reader's Digest version. Bring you up to the first child. Basically, when I was younger in school, I was a loner. Wasn't outgoing at all. All the way up to 11th grade, I was president of the chess club, president of the computer club. I was a total nerd when it wasn't cool to be a nerd. I
love that.
There was one computer in the whole high school, and I'd be there 5:30 in the morning to get it. So, and I ate my lunch alone in the library. All right, now that we got that whole thing, in 12th grade, I got tired of being a nobody and having no friends, and I just said, "That's it, game over. If I see a beautiful woman, I'm gonna walk up and tell her, 'You're absolutely beautiful.'" And that's all I wanted to say. Have a nice day and walk away. And I wanted to be outgoing, and I wanted to have friends. And so I flipped the switch when I graduated high school. And then I went into the entertainment field. So I started DJing nightclubs with a fake ID. And I didn't drink alcohol, but my mom ironically helped me get it. Yeah.
That's funny.
Back then you get I don't know how we did it. She helped sign for something or help
Is
me.
that the Italian thing, maybe?
Oh, yeah. We know people.
You don't have to talk about it. It's okay.
So my heathen sinful life was in the nightclubs, 7 years of it.
Oh, wow.
And that's when, and even though I wasn't a Christian at the time, I've always believed in God. I just never knew what to do with it.
Right.
It's one of those things. Yeah, God exists. I love him. He's awesome. And I talked to him, but I knew nothing else. So I'm going along, and I'm in the nightclubs for 7 years, and then I go to radio, and I get to do country radio for 7 years. And it was funny because I prayed to God, ironically, not as a Christian, and I'm like, Lord, please, I don't want Southern gospel, and I don't want country music, and I don't want country music, any other radio station. And my college professor was like, okay, you're horrible in class, but you're an A+ on the microphone. So why don't you come with me? I'm program director at a country station. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you. So I learned to love the country, the people that like country music, everything about them. It is the backbone of this country. It is and I'm not trying to kiss up to anybody. I have to tell you.
And you were living where?
I was living in asphalt jungle, Orange County, California.
Okay.
So
to put it in perspective,
I've never touched a horse or a cow or anything.
Oh, right.
But the people were so dedicated. They were my second family. So now I'm in my nightclub years, I had gotten married with my first wife, and we had a child out of wedlock, but then we got married, and she was abusive. And it's kind of weird to say that my wife beat me and threw ashtrays at me and plates and pushed me through a shower door. And
wow.
Yeah. And it's something that guys don't want to admit but I never could hit her or a woman ever. And it just wasn't something, it wasn't in my repertoire. So I left her as soon as we had a child. I'm like, I cannot allow her to raise this child. So I got custody of my son, Garrett Scalfani, and he and I were, it was tough being a single parent. I luckily had my mom to help watch him so that I could DJ at night, and then I come home and do the 2:00 feeding. I made my own baby food, and that was amazing.
Okay, well, you just went up to me on the mom scale because I did not. I bought those little jars.
I'm gonna chew up you because I used cloth diapers his whole life.
Oh.
And I cleaned them by hand. And back then, I saved at least $80 a month on diapers.
So was that your driving force, was to save money?
Was
it just because that's what you wanted to do?
No, it was money. I would have loved Velcro.
Right.
And throw it out.
I think it was tape back then.
Velcro.
Exactly.
It wasn't Velcro yet.
And it wasn't like you could... Exactly. You could undo it and check, but then you had to do a new one.
You had to use the finger.
Yeah, exactly. You're all... Yeah. So then I go right into radio, and I am... the DJ at the bowling alley, Kick FM.
Give us a quick station identification. Let's hear it.
It's no longer around.
Well, I mean, just the voice.
Oh, you're listening to the Hot New Country, 94.3 Kick FM. We've got 20 in a row. That's right. We've never done it before, but now that I'm giving you my voice, I get to do whatever I want. Commercial free, coming up next.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So I meet her. She, Sean Parr, ironically, is here in Nashville.
Yeah.
He's on Nash, not Nash Icon, but Nash. And he was the morning man. So I was overnights. I would get his coffee and cereal and everything. And and he never thanked me. So if you're listening, Sean, you never thanked me. We have some issues to go over.
Jerry Springer episode.
Exactly. Yeah. No, Sean the child.
That's every day.
Yeah, exactly. But so Sean's little brother, this was Sean's little brother Jay's girlfriend at the time.
Oh.
This was, yes.
And Jay and I were friends, but I don't know why. I was always monogamous, even in liking a girl, and I never played dirty. I wasn't going to try and steal her, so I waited till she was available. And when I found out she was available, which I must have not been paying attention because she'd been available for like 2 months, someone's like, "Oh yeah, I broke up with Jay months ago." I'm like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Do you want to go out?" And she's like, "Well, no, my word."
He's like,
I gotta wash my hair.
I'm like, what is up with that?
Okay, so little caveat here. He always wore a baseball cap. I'm 19. He was 25 or something like that.
Something
like that. So I never knew, right? Skinny little thing, right?
Who, me?
Me.
Oh.
Well, you were too.
Ironically, I was a 34 waist.
Yeah.
But I was smoking at the time, cigarettes. Oh. So this is from not smoking. I went, but so I literally asked her out. She said no, That really upset me because I was the DJ. I was the guy.
I've got the
Whatever.
You went out with Dumpy, but you won't go out with me.
Dumpy.
So we
He
and by
was
the
a
way,
bar.
Jay was a nice guy, but 3 times I asked her out 3 times,
Yeah.
and I basically got the message to her that this ain't ever going to stop. This is not. So you either need to go out with me and say it's not going to work out, but we are going out.
Or follow a restraining order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those two.
I'm a sucker for a baby face. And she has the most adorable, she still does, the most adorable baby face. And I couldn't stop thinking about her. And every week I go to the bowling alley, will you please go out with me? I don't care about your job. I don't care about that stuff. So do you want to talk about our first date or do you want me to?
Well, on the 3rd time, I said, fine, just let me know where you're going to be at.
Fine.
Let me know how to dress,
Fine.
what time, everything, because I knew it wasn't going to go away.
Like some bad luggage.
So I'm just like, fine, whatever.
Typically.
I was in my stage of being independent. I was 19, trying to prove that I didn't need a guy around. I was going to school, working a job, bowling in 3 leagues, just trying to find me.
Yeah, bowling in 3 leagues, but no time to go out with me.
Well, I was busy, keeping myself busy, everything. Yeah. So anyway, so I finally said yes. And he said that he was going to take me to Elizabeth Curtain Call, which was a dinner and show, like a small, like Broadway theater show.
Remember
So
what the show was?
I always forget it.
Come on.
They do the Matchmaker song.
That was
See,
that was later.
I don't even know.
we saw Anything Goes.
I don't know.
And it's sorry, everybody's lost.
Yeah, see,
You would know.
I don't remember.
You would know the song if you heard it. Anything
Okay.
Goes. But anyway.
Anyway, so I went out and got brand new clothes. I don't even know why, but I did. I got brand new dress, boots, and I curled my hair with, you remember the bed curlers that you'd roll up and you slip
Oh,
in?
yeah.
So, I mean, it was like, okay, if I'm going to go out, I might as well.
19.
Yeah. So,
And then you go, oh, my hair's a lot shorter and wider than I thought it would be. You try to pull it down. Yeah.
yeah. So I got ready, and then he came and picked me up, and go ahead.
So I was massively sick that day. 103 degrees. I took my temperature for the date. I was dying inside. And I'm like, I would have to be dead to not make this date. I don't remember the play. I remember the name, but I don't remember the play. I don't remember seeing it. I remember the chicken was nasty dry. It
And
was
you
the
made
worst
me taste the
chicken.
sour cream to make sure it wasn't horseradish. Yes.
That's right. I don't want to burn my mouth, So
He
yeah,
has a sensitive palate.
exactly.
Even sick. Yeah.
I needed it for our videos together. I'm like, there's a guy named Brian I'm going to meet down the road. We need our palettes. So we went out, and I've always asked a girl to do a kiss. I thought it would be more appropriate. Say, do you mind if I kiss you? And I don't know why. I didn't want to, because I hate uncomfortableness.
Brian did not do that, just in case anybody's wondering. He did not ask.
Well, all right, we got to pause. Hold on.
She said I gave her the surprise attack.
I said, oh, that was a surprise attack. Okay, go ahead.
No, wait a minute. Wait, no, I need more. Now you got me all.
Nope, that's all you get.
You can't just have one cookie. No. I need to know. Like, did you turn it, or did he just lean
Like,
forward?
I think I looked up and he was like in
There.
my face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in my mouth.
Oh, in your mouth. Okay. All right. I don't
then
have
was
too
like,
many
oh,
cookies.
that's a surprise attack.
Go, Brian, give me some.
So there was a line right there.
Boom.
Kissing me. You were kissing me. So I meant.
Yeah.
So
that
she said yes. She said yes. I could kiss
But
her.
you could kiss her?
No, I told her I have to be honest with you. I have 103 degree temperature, and I don't want to leave without a kiss. So I'm going to kiss you on the cheek, if you don't mind. Don't take offense. I would kiss you on the mouth if I could, but I don't want to get you sick.
Oh.
That's
And
thoughtful.
so
Sweet.
I kissed. I gave her a peck on the cheek, and then she goes, "Now I have to be honest with you. I'm probably going to get written up at work because I wasn't supposed to call in sick today. I called in sick. My boss told me, don't you dare call in sick tonight. And she called in sick. I'm like, yes, she really wanted to go.
I mean, she had her hair curled. Could you not tell?
Yeah, no, I didn't know she slept on them. So now moving forward with the little one, that was an adventure.
So did you know that he had a child before you went out?
okay, not at first. Well, when I met him, I was going to school because I wanted to be an accountant. So I was. That's why I left Jay, because Jay didn't have a goal. I was at the point where I wanted to figure out where I was in my life. So I knew what I wanted to be, and I wanted a guy that knew what he wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And Jay was a mechanic at a bowling alley, and I told him, look, you gotta figure it out. You can't just be a mechanic. I'm sorry, it's not gonna work.
Okay, this isn't the Jay show.
Shut up.
Sorry. That's it.
So anyway,
you maximum 2 J's.
So after 2 weeks, he decided that's what he wanted to do, and I said, okay, well, we're done. I had a promise ring on my finger and everything. Like, we're done. Sorry. Here you go. And so then Jack found out 2 months later that we broke up. And so it was really important to me to find out a guy that had a goal, had a dream, wanted to mean. I knew I didn't want to be a CPA. I was an accountant because I wanted to have a family, wanted to be a mom, a wife, all that. So when I met Jack, I didn't know how much he made because it wasn't a union station. And no, I did not know he had a kid.
So when you went on the date, you didn't know it that point.
Okay, so I said yes, and Jack used to wear baseball caps, so he looks a lot younger because he was bald when I met him. His first wife took all the hair.
All right.
So
remember when you saw me?
Yeah, it was like a week before our date. After I'd already said yes, he was doing what do they call those?
It was a grand opening.
Yeah, he was doing like a thing. Anyway, so he was there, and I went there and had my sunglasses on. I said, he's got like 5 minutes to realize I'm here. Like, yeah. 5 minutes. Because, I'm like, I'm not going to be hanging around here, like, thinking I know people.
Let me set the stage. There's about 60 people in the parking lot. And anyway. I'm on the microphone, and I'm conducting the whole opening, and we're doing contests, and I'm doing call-ins, and she wants me to know she's there.
TikTok, buddy.
Yeah.
TikTok.
So I get there, and he's, like, doing a commercial. He's talking on the air, and I look, and he's got no hat. And I'm like, oh.
I just expected there would be a lot of hair under that hat.
I'm like, and one of our friends, Jeannie, which was knew Jack and everything, and so we met kind of that way too. But so like, I'm not even kidding you, like 4 minutes and 45 seconds, right around there, he was on the radio and he like yells, "Baby!" and I'm like, oh my!
He's not talking to me.
Like, please don't be me. Please don't be me. And he walks right over to me, and I'm like, oh.
And everybody
Lord.
just turns and looks at her.
Yeah, no. Like, yeah, so that was the scope into my life now.
So you were prepared from early on.
Yes. So anyway, so then we went on our date, and that was it.
Yeah. And then, so let's talk about, I think I want to share with everybody how hard it is to bring somebody in when the child's already there. She came in when he was 3. Mm-hmm. So he really only knows her as mom. He's had a relationship with his real mom, and that was more of a weekend type thing. And then I had custody. So she helped raise, and she's 19, no child. And I mean, straight out, it was hard because as he got older, she's not mom, and she's trying to control and discipline and love and everything. And it was, I applaud her.
But I'm doing the baseball, the karate, the instrument lessons that never worked out, all that. So.
Right. So, how open can we get on this show?
As open as you want to be. The more open, the better.
You better make sure it's okay.
You might want to write it on a piece of paper and slide it over.
Wait, no, my son is very open about it already on social media.
Yes.
So she was amazing with him and everything I wanted. And then we got married and we had a country wedding. So that everybody could show up in jeans, because I hate weddings. I DJ weddings too. And I want everybody to be comfortable in our wedding. And it was the most, to this day, they're talking about how great that wedding was. You get to come in your jeans. It's awesome. Right. So we get married, and then she that's when I gave myself to Christ right before we got married. And I was all for it. Sure. I'm totally open to God. I want to learn more. And if that means how I spend the rest of my life with you, I'll be obedient. Be obedient to God.
We were already going to church. That's how I sucked him in through with Garrett. With Garrett, I used the child to get him to go to church because he wasn't raised in it, and I was. I was raised Baptist, private school, all the way up till junior high, and then public after that. So we were already going to church. I'm like, what's the deal? Like, just step forward.
All
like,
right,
really?
So let's jump to the part. This is the key part here. We did a great job parenting. We didn't do the best job. but we did the best we could at the time. The other side, who she's a totally sweet person, but was not strict at all. He had carte blanche. Yeah. So every weekend it was carte blanche, and every Monday or Tuesday we were hammering our kid to get him back in his shape.
Right.
By the time Wednesday, Thursday rolls around, he's finally our child again. Friday comes, she picks him up, and he'll admit to you it destroyed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
having two such different environments that you're trying to reconcile
it was like,
when you're a kid.
It was rough. And he starts, because he couldn't handle it. I was Mr. Strict Parent, and she just didn't do anything. And it just messed him up. And so he starts having rage issues. So we had to deal with that. And as he got into his teen years, he had a great home life. He had everything his heart desired. He never went without. He started to hang out with the wrong crowd in California high schools. And I want to be specific about that because California high schools are rough. They're full of kids that don't want to be there, full of gangs, and
teachers that don't want to be there.
They're little jails. I call them little jails. And so he chose to hang out with his friends and become who they were. Against our will, against our wishes. And I remember the first bad thing he did. I wanted him at age 13 to start his own company. We talked about it. We want to encourage him to start early. We don't want him just wasting money and blowing money. We want him to earn money and get excited about something. It's his. And so by the time he's 18, he would have it, something that's already substantial, right? So we got him into building computers. And I took him to a shop in Huntington Beach every 3 times a week. He was interning there. They were teaching him how to put it all together. And that was where he learned how to smoke pot. And I still haven't given that one up, that I was the reason he started smoking pot. I encouraged him. I found the place, and I got my son hooked on drugs. And it's tough, and I should definitely deal with that. But it escalated, and he started cursing at Tammy and me and having rage issues. And there were 2 times. Once he put his hand on me, and it wasn't like he pushed me, but it was in an aggressive way. And I took him down to the ground. I threw him down to the ground. And then the second time, he put his hands on Tammy, pushed her up against the door, and I took him to the ground, and I was going to kill him. I was choking him out, and I hadn't fought since school. The only time you stop fighting in school is the principal's coming. But this was the moment I was choking him and screaming in his ears, "You don't ever touch a woman. You don't ever touch a woman." At the top of my voice, I was choking him so hard, his nose started to bleed.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know when to stop. And his friend was in the room and stepped over us. I don't remember him leaving. But the interesting thing was Garrett never fought me, never pushed back, never tried to hurt me or hit me. He completely submitted, which out of respect, love, I don't know, fear, I don't know. I never understood that. So we had some rough times, and that's when we had to let him go at age 16. And say, "You're no longer ever allowed in this house. We will love you. We will, give you advice. We will do whatever you need, but we'll never give you money." And we were never, because he was addicted to marijuana. We didn't realize how bad it was yet, but, and we won't give you a roof over your head, but we love you. We will always love you no matter what. And you need to go. And our plan was him coming back in tears, asking to come back into the house, hoping that he would come back for a second chance so we could forgive him.
Repentant, right.
Mom and Dad stepped in the way. And they took him in, and they enabled him to build an even worse lifestyle, give him carte blanche, and deal drugs out of their house. And when
Your mom and dad?
My mom and
Your
dad.
mom and dad.
Yeah, my mom and dad. And
Was their perspective, they're just trying to offer help and...
They just didn't want him on the streets. And I'm like, look, this child's never been on the streets. He doesn't know streets. he'll be back. He'll maybe sleep in the yard, down the street in the park, but he, and they ruined everything. In my mind, they ruined everything. They enabled him. So we had
Jack Jr.
We had Jack Jr. during his rage years. Jack was how old when we kicked him out?
Well, they're about 10 years apart, so he was about 6.
He was about 6 years old. And one of the interesting things was our son, Garrett, he would never rage when Jack Jr. was around. He would never let him see him. He would never rage. He probably would have broken everything in the house, but Jack Jr. was asleep when we kicked him out, and he didn't want to scare his brother. And to this day, if you mention his name, Garrett will cry over us mentioning Jack Jr. because he loves him so much. So both my boys have big hearts. They're little boys inside. But my son has been affected by an evil world, and he has, he still has never been back in the house.
What's your relationship like today with him? Do you have a relationship or?
Yeah.
We have an amazing relationship with him. Ironically, he tells us everything that even we don't want to know, to being jumped, to being stabbed, to what he's doing and where he's going, because that's what I've always asked. I said, if you're going somewhere, you're flying somewhere, you got to let me know as a mom where you're going to be. So if I know world comes to an end where my child is. He's 25 now. So he's done that. He's very open more with Jack because I don't know if I can handle a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, no. I don't need to know.
So, I mean, he tells me through Garrett, but it's one of those things. You're like, we're praying he's our prodigal son. He's coming here for Christmas.
Oh, that's good.
And he's not staying in our house because he's still doing what he does. And with Jack being 15, I mean, Jack Jr. knows everything about Garrett. He knows his whole lifestyle. He knows everything. And it breaks Jack's heart because he knows he lost his brother because of drugs. So Garrett will be staying in our timeshare that we have here and then coming to stay with us during the day or whatever.
Jack Jr. Is awesome. When Jack Jr. was born, we told God we would do things differently. And we lifted him up and gave him to God. He goes, we will take care of him, but he is yours. And he is yours to do whatever you will. If it means another country, I don't get to see him ever again. If he has to go to your work somewhere else, use him any way, shape, or form. We will support him no matter where you break his heart. But we will never tell him that he should be a pastor. We'll never mention the words. We'll never push him in any direction. And at age 13, Jack's in the back seat and he says, Mom, Dad, he goes, I know I'm never going to be in the NFL and I'm probably never going to be a rock star. He goes, but I'm really, really yearning to be like a youth pastor. And that was the first time the word pastor was ever in a conversation with our child and us, because we wanted to make sure it came from his heart and that we never pushed in any direction. And he just recently was offered marijuana for the first time this year. And I wish he'd come to me, but what did he do? He called his brother. And his brother told him, this is what you do. You get away. You never go near it. And the best way to avoid the peer pressure is say, I have a breathing problem. Lie. This way they won't make fun of you. They won't ever try to ask you again. Say I have emphysema or asthma or whatever. I can go into an attack. I can't do that. He says that will work. And that will save you from being embarrassed.
So the son with the drug addiction is helping the other son steer clear of that lifestyle. Yeah. That's interesting.
He also advised him, he says, do what Dad says. Do what Dad had it to do over again. I would have done what Dad said. And, I've advised people to, sometimes you got to let your child go to save the rest of the family.
Yeah.
Bible says, you cut your arm off, rip your eye out, whatever you got to do to save the rest of the body. But
it actually brought us closer to Garrett because Garrett felt like not being in our house, he was able to be himself. And he's trying. He started going to church this year, to a church that is accepting of what he's doing. Because in California, you can get a green card and it's legal to carry.
Medical card?
Yeah, medical. Yeah. Well, they have their green cards, but yeah. Everybody has a green card for a different reason in California.
I know, I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm confused. I don't know anything about these green cards.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
these are different green cards.
Yeah.
You roll them
You
up
go.
and smoke
So
them.
wait a minute. You can get a green card and carry pot?
You can walk into a
California?
doctor. He has one that he pays, I think, when they first came out years ago, they were $300 for 3 years.
It doesn't have to be medical. It can
No,
just be,
Oh, no.
I
have a
smoke
headache.
it.
Rage
I have a
issues.
headache.
I have rage issues.
They'll fill out any reason you want. You can walk in.
We don't.
Yeah. And they have clinics all over Los Angeles that you can just walk right in with your card.
And it's a shopping
carry.
mall. There's
Wow.
there's product, there's oils and
Different
cooking
flavors
oils
and like a vapor shop here.
It's
Wow.
I don't see this on the news or anything.
Well, because it's
Like,
accepted over there.
it's completely
then why is Colorado such a big deal? Like, what was the big deal? I don't know.
Because now they get to tax it. California, they don't tax because it's
and,
still.
and you don't need a card anymore. Anybody that has a
Have
deadly car can go get stoned.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
so we so that's where we're at right now. He's hanging out with rappers like Snoop Dogg and Andy Milonakis from MTV. That whole industry that encourages this whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
And he's so deep that he goes to festivals and we love him. We love him. We love him. And that's his choice.
Yeah.
And
he's an adult.
he
I mean, he's
knows.
accountable for his choices
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
And so we're going to pray that God touches him when he's here, that we can bring him out of his element and show him this is real life. Where you're at isn't real life. This is real life. This is where people love each other and have barbecues and dogs and fences. This really exists.
Yeah.
A godly world really exists. And you can have the dream family that you want. I'm hoping I can relay that message. We will see. This is kind of where we're at right now.
Is he married or has he been married or?
He's on the verge of talking about it. That's why he's coming here. So hopefully she doesn't watch, but because we're supposed to meet her too at Christmas time. So, but yeah. So I mean, he's talking about it. So when he comes here, he's going to go to our church. We have him set up to talk to Pastor Matt and to Pastor Maury, so that they can talk to him about his worshiping of God.
Good.
So that's kind of what we're hoping for. And he wants to, like last year without us being there for Christmas, was horrible for him because we were his rock. We were his foundation. We were where he went. And last year at Christmas time was the first Christmas he wasn't there.
But sometimes that's a good thing.
It is.
I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
he called crying on Christmas Eve. And he goes, this is the first year I have nobody for Christmas. And, oh man, it just takes your heart right out of your chest.
Yeah.
It's not about presents. It's just my boy's alone and he's hurting and you have to watch. And it's just such a tough process. And so I'll advise people like, do what I did. It's to save him. You have to do what and they're like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, I did it.
Yeah.
I had to let my son go to hopefully save him someday. So anyway, and that's where we're at right now.
So talk to me about how you guys got from California to Nashville.
Okay. So
Yeehaw.
we vacationed here a couple of times with my parents. And we had friends. He has a high school friend that lives here. I
never
have
see him.
family.
So does your family live here or they just came with you on vacation?
I have a family that lives in Goodlettsville.
Okay.
Okay. And then it's actually the family, my uncle married me and Jack.
Okay.
So it's his family, my mom's brother's family. And then we have family in Alabama. So we're surrounded by, and it was Bible Belt. It was a Republican state. It was everything California wasn't.
So
There are no green cards like that here either.
no.
I would know where they're at.
Yeah,
There's not any
if
of
there's
those.
a green card, it's called Uno the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's none of those.
My viewers write me all the time, and they're like, "Why did you move from California to Tennessee?" And I'm like, the number one reason was religious freedom. And I tell people in Tennessee, and they're in shock. I'm like, in California, you can be fired for saying God, talking about God, using His name in the workplace. You can lose your job. You can have no crosses on your desk, nothing referencing your faith at all. plenty of rainbows on the desk, but no.
Like those new Doritos. I'm so mad at Doritos.
Did you see?
Yeah. I can't think about it right now. We have to get through this.
Yes, well, I want to talk about those Doritos. And the other thing is, as of the year 2000, all lifestyle type or health books or whatever they call them now in elementary school, it's a mandatory law, as any printing after 2013 has to talk about homosexuality as an acceptable lifestyle.
Or an alternative.
It's a law now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, now I want to go on record and I want to say homosexuality is a sexual preference. It is not a lifestyle. It is not a culture. Mm-hmm. Simple. It's something that's behind the bedroom door choice, and there's no reason for it in any school, no matter what you're teaching.
Especially elementary.
It's for mom and dad, and you're not going to teach my child. So that was the last straw. He was Jack Jr. was 3 years away from high school. That's when we started praying. Mm-hmm. We wanted religious freedom. We wanted to buy our first house. We wanted our money's worth, a beautiful home for a low price. We wanted a good economy.
And California is not the place to find that. I've watched enough of those HGTV shows. I know what y'all do with out there.
You must be in shock. You're like, $500,000 for that shack?
I'm like, there's not even like any trim or anything. There's nothing. It's terrible.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's totally
there's
crazy.
No yard. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
So what else? No, he was going to start high school. So we're like, God, we have 3 years. We prayed and we prayed.
He was in private school in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Private school, but we couldn't afford high school private out there. We're like, God, and our prayer was this, wasn't it? Like, we don't want to be here. But if you want us here in the middle of Sodom and Gomorrah, mm-hmm. and this is the sinners I'm supposed to reach, I will stay faithful. But you say to us, ask in thanksgiving, and if it's in my will, it will be done. And I said, so I'm going to continue to ask you until you tell me otherwise. And I'm going to continue to stay here faithfully until you tell me otherwise. Because we said we won't go without your blessing. Mm-hmm. We cannot. We'd rather live in hell with your blessing than in Tennessee without you. So I'll let you tell this
Okay,
great.
So for 3 years, every Sunday, I was looking for a job. And you guys are so good old boys club here. It took me forever.
Rude.
It was like, we'll get right back to you means something completely different out here. It means like never.
So every
few months.
Yeah.
So every Sunday for 3 years, I was looking and looking and looking.
Literally,
and so
every week.
Literally, we had to apply for Jack Jr. because we didn't want him in the school that our son went to school with and had problems. He was going to go to the school that Jack wanted to, that Garrett Oster graduated from. And we had just gotten the letter saying that they wouldn't allow him to go. Jack Jr. and I were getting ready to go on his eighth grade Washington D.C. Virginia trip for his trip of the year. I got a call, and they're like, "Oh, hi, you applied for a position in Russellville, Kentucky?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Okay, which one again? Like, because I applied for it back in November, and we're now in March.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
I'm
like, from Kentucky, so be nice about Kentucky.
We know that was quick for Kentucky.
I mean,
and I'll tell you.
Slower pace.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I said,
here's your application. Tammy, that's it.
So I had 2 phone interviews. My longest FaceTime interview, 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
On FaceTime, and then they flew me in. So Jack and I went on our 8th grade trip, and then we came back, and then she was going somewhere. So then a week after I did month, it was God working the magic all the way through, because it was literally after I was able to do my month in at my old job in California. I came out, called in sick 2 days, did my interview in Russellville, came back home. A week later, they gave me the offer. How long before you can pack? And I said, well, I need at least 2-3 weeks here, because now we're into month in. I'd like to get them through their month in. And they said, okay. And then we drove out here. So literally from the time I got my job offer to the time I started my job was 5 weeks.
Oh, wow. And in a cross-country move at that point.
So we literally went from renting our house in California to buying our house, contingent our walkthrough, 24 hours before we were able to walk through, had to buy it without seeing it, after seeing it with our friends and everything. I mean, just doors were opening. My boss in California was like, you still can stay here. And I'm like, honestly, if the doors are being shut in any way, we would consider it. But they're like flying open. Like, how can you tell me to stay here?
3 weeks.
Wow.
How can you tell me to stay here when I'm going from renting a house to buying a house and making less money?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, it just is, it wasn't even.
In a market that seemed, I'm sure, very reasonable and good compared to what you're coming from.
Right. Yeah. So we moved here. We stayed in our timeshare for 45 days, 1 bedroom.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. So because we had to wait for the whole process, and I mean, the people in Russellville, they paid for our move, they paid for our hotel, they paid for everything.
That's
so
great.
they were $20,000 in bills.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Total
so I mean,
could have done it. Never
so
could have
that was
moved
worth
here.
the wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
years of praying, $20,000, sure.
So we get here, and you guys are about 2 weeks from ending school. So Jack literally wants to play football. He's playing for beach.
Now, is that last year or was that this year?
This is last year.
Last year. Okay.
So he was freshman going in. So he literally, school ended. He jumped right in, wanted to play football. So he had the whole summer.
To do practice with the other boys.
So
when school started, he had all his friends in place.
Right.
And there was no...
A seamless.
Yeah, it was amazing. Exactly.
It was very perfect.
You know, being a guy, you know that you got your camaraderie with the guys and go take on high school.
So then I love the people I worked for in Russellville, Kentucky. They were amazing people. There was a reason why I left there, but that's okay. That's a whole nother story. So we go from, now we're moving in day and moving in our house, and all of our stuff comes. Everything was damaged.
Oh.
Like our washer, I don't even know how it got damaged, but the whole thing was just caved in like someone jumped on it from 2 stories in. Like, I don't even know how a washer could look like that. His cast iron grill on his stove was snapped off. Our bedroom set, the headboard, you couldn't put it back together because they took it apart. My dresser that was wrapped in a blanket had knobs ripped off and gashes in it. And I'm just like...
Chunks of wood
everything. But of course, Jack Jr.'s single bed that he's had since he was 5 was completely perfect.
And we hated it. We wanted to light it on fire.
But your washer's caved in.
Yeah. So how do you break a cast iron stovetop? And they broke it.
So,
I couldn't break it if I tried.
So that was a very emotional day, but yet we were still very blessed to be here. So we're in our house, like living on furniture, like sleeping on a mattress on the floor because we have to go through the whole settlement. And so we finally, after 9-10 months, get the settlement and are able to replace everything.
Well, let's talk about our search for church.
Okay.
You guys know that story?
Okay.
Do we have?
I work at church, so I think I know a bit of it, but I don't know that I know all of it. Okay.
Our number one thing was get a church, find a home. We need a home. That ain't our home.
Right.
The church is our home. And we said, we're going to commit. As soon as we get settled in, we're in our house. We're going to go every week, and we're going to, every Sunday, we're going to try a new church. So I'm not...
hang on. Our studio audience has a question. Yes, Jennifer. Right. Wait, hold on.
What kind of church did you go to in California?
It was, we went to, so we went to a church. They're both non-denominational. So we went to a church that we raised Garrett in for almost, 20 years? 15, 20 years. And we left that church 3 years before we came here. For different reasons.
Yeah. Non-denominational is all we just cared about the Bible. We didn't want any book that came alongside it. We didn't want any rituals that came alongside it. And if it ain't the word, it ain't. Period. Mm-hmm. And so we stuck with non-denominational to be safe. So that's where we came from. And then when we came out here, we looked for the closest thing. Everybody had a name. There was no such thing as non-denominational.
Mm-hmm. And knowing Jack's background, I knew Baptist was not the way he wanted to go because I know what Baptist is. And even in California, it was still a little different than out here. But my uncle was a Baptist pastor, and my aunt never wore anything that was showing her knees. So I knew. Okay, so the churches, even in California where we went to, are very come as you are. Like football season, we're all sporting our jerseys and flip-flops and everything. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that's what Jack, not
this would be maybe more a conservative versus that where you came from.
So anyway, I knew Baptist. I'm like, stay away from the Baptist. You don't want Baptist because you'll go back to your roots, like not going to church.
And we won't. We were not going to name names of churches out of respect. Mm-hmm. But first church we went to, they played music, and it was all 70s rock, and not one God
Christian,
song
nothing.
at all. And the guy's got hippie hair, and I'm like, okay.
Well, and
They were rock's awesome.
Well, and they were very opening. Like they showed us the kids' room because the kids were on camp that week, and Jack's like, well, I mean, because Jack had one question that he would always know to ask a pastor.
It's will you conduct a gay marriage? Mm-hmm. It's really simple. It's the one question you can ask any church, and it tells you everything about the church. And so the guy asked this lady that was showing, and she's like, well, I really think you should talk to the pastor about that because my daughter's lesbian, and we're okay with it. But you can talk to the pastor on his stance on that. We're like, oh. So I walk up to the pastor. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to ask you one question. Would you do a gay wedding? And he's like, well, I'm like, hey, nice knowing you. The moment he started welling me,
I just needed to know.
Yeah. Are you really thinking? Really? So we went to another church, which was okay. It wasn't mature enough yet. You could tell it was a starter church, a planted church that needed to grow a lot more. It wasn't really where we wanted to go. And I'm like, so I asked him, would you do a gay wedding? And at the end of service, I always waited after. And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. I said, but this isn't really, I'm looking for a church that teaches straight out of the Bible, that will kick my butt out of the chair, and does nothing but Chris Tomlin music. Let's be real
it
about
is established.
Yeah, and I'd like an order of fries with that. And he goes, oh, yeah, you want Cornerstone. Really? Did you just send me to another church? That is awesome. Yeah. So we decide next at Wednesdays, kids' night.
Well, we thought first the one in Madison was a satellite church, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and watch a video. I want to see the pastor. I want to see him there.
And then somebody told us it wasn't a satellite. It's where it's happening. So we go Wednesday night. We're like, okay, look, we're just gonna drop you off. We're gonna go Sunday. I know they have a Wednesday service, but we ain't gonna sit there. So.
I mean, we're in the Bible Belt, but really, come on.
Yeah. Wednesday's like Modern Family or something. I don't even know why church is even open on Wednesday. So we dropped them off, and we're walking by, and it's about ready to start. And she's like, "Well, why don't we just sit? I don't want to have to go all the way home and then come back in an hour. We'll sit through the service. Let's check it out." So we sit down, and Pastor Davis gets up there, and he's like, first thing I hear him say, we need to napalm the Palestinians. I'm like, I look at my honey. I'm like, honey, did the pastor just say we need to like wipe out everybody like over there?
Yeah,
and he's
for
like,
5 minutes.
And I'm like, I stood up. Where do I sign up? Just take all my money, do whatever. Seriously, this is any.
Do you have like a room? Can I get a cot or something? Like I'll just stay here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put my tithe on auto debit.
Right. I know. So we knew it the second he said that. The second he wasn't afraid about who's judging him, and he spoke the truth. I don't hold back, and I thought, this is the man I want to teach me. This is the guy who's gonna tell me, Jack, quit pretending you're a Christian, get out and save the world. It takes action. And that's the guy I wanted. So that's how we got to Cornerstone.
So here's what I want to ask. So this was Wednesday night. So what did you do that Saturday morning?
Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah, that was the men's thing. Okay, well, first,
Oh my
wait.
Did you tell her about our Saturday morning?
No.
I'm like, honey, would you guys talk before the show?
The part I may know.
I thought that was our time.
I was like, this guy's either amazing or crazy. I don't know which one. It could go either way.
So when we first walked in on Wednesday, we couldn't even get to our seats. And we all know how women are, right? Like, they don't talk to anybody now, right? Like, nobody talked to me, which was fine, and I don't care because I don't like women, but it's okay. So, like, we couldn't even get our seats. Jack was talking to, like, 25 guys. Like, Bud, then Rusty, then, I mean, just like, I'm like, oh, I'm just standing next to him. I'm his wife.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah. When I walked in on
No, it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday because that's when you met Bud. Bud met you at the door. Then he introduced you to Rusty.
So Bud walks me over. Bud's a tall guy. Yeah. He immediately brings me to Rusty. Rusty, this guy, la da 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 da. And Rusty goes, "Nice to meet you." He goes, "Hey, you want to help out with the men's breakfast?" And I'm like, "Sure. I cook for a living." And he says, "All right." I said, "What time do you want me there?" He goes, 4:30 in the morning. That's not when I eat breakfast. He's like, you're going to show? You need to bring your man card if you're going to show. If you're not going to show, yeah.
We are highly committed and disciplined.
I'm like, I'll show. I'll be there before you. So I showed up for the men's breakfast.
So that was on Saturday. They visited on Wednesday, and he showed up on Saturday.
And I stayed in bed because it was for minutes.
I was cooking my
So again, I was like, the guy's either crazy or he's awesome. One or the other,
Yeah.
Maybe both.
I think it's still out on.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, the jury's still out.
I can tell he's crazy. It's all good.
But to feel that quickly, this is where we're going to be planted at, and to know
people literally said, you act like you've been here for years and you've only been here a month. And I knew everybody in a month. It was crazy. I had more friends like in the first few months than in all my life in California. It was unexplainable. So
That's awesome.
So then you signed up for Pastor Davis's Bible study because we was all enrollment.
Yeah, and Pastor Davis is in the parking lot because we were doing the remodel. So he's directing traffic. I'm thinking, senior pastor's directing. It's dark outside, so he's waving me down. I'm the only one in there. There's no traffic. I pull up. I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, just park over there. We're going in this door. Okay. So I get out and...
Which means somebody may not have done their job.
Yeah, so, sorry.
God works in those ways. No, it's all good.
So I walk up to him and I go, hi, sir, my name's, he goes, I know who you are. I'm like, what? He goes, I know who you are. Your name's Jack Scalfani. You have a really big YouTube show and you have food products that you market. And I'm like, really? And how am I going to do in 3 years? I was like, he knew everything about me. And he's the senior pastor and we clicked. It's really cool that I'm able to sit down with the senior pastor, have conversations, and just talk. And he truly listens. I have so many great ideas, and I've always wanted to share my ideas. And he listens, and he'll tune out if it's not a good idea.
And this is what you get when he starts tuning out.
Yeah.
The head bob. The head bob, yeah.
You know you're done.
Everyone's got that there.
Lost it.
All right.
And he's honest, so he'll tell you if it's a terrible idea or if it's a good idea. You don't have to worry.
Does he watch this or listen to this podcast?
We don't know.
All right, well, we'll find out.
He gets talked about every week, so he should be.
I'm going to talk about him right now. You know how to make the pastor happy?
How?
You want to have a long conversation with him? Longer than you thought? All right, try pulling away from him. If you try to leave him alone, he engages. I got your number, Pastor.
He likes people. Yeah.
He doesn't like people who just cling on to him and won't let him go to his office or to get to the next person who needs help or whatever. So you do it with all the pastors. It's a kind of a respect. I know your time's valuable and you're helping out a lot. I always do that. So he's like, oh, hey, Jack. Hey, so what do you think? Oh, it's great. And I start to pull away a little bit. And I'm sorry. Yeah. I can't wait till tonight. And he keeps talking. And so I got to walk back to him. And if you give him that freedom that he can leave whenever he needs to, because he gets so bombarded, I feel bad.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
But you've got, thousands of sheep.
We were at Second Saturday the other week, and he wasn't there. And so I FaceTimed him, and he answered.
And I was mortified.
Everybody's cracking up.
FaceTime him.
Everybody's cracking up like, you're FaceTiming Pastor? And I was like,
great.
yeah, I'm FaceTiming Pastor. He's sitting on his back porch. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be here. He's like, I'm not supposed to be there. I'm sitting on my back porch.
This is Galen's thing.
That's right.
I told our Bible study that our church that we all go to is the biggest, smallest ran church because you literally feel like you walk in and it's a small church even though it's humongous.
Everybody
it's
treats
just so
you like
amazing.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
It's just like Little House on the Prairie.
Part of that's our Southern charm and hospitality. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Do you do PR? Is that what you do at the church?
No, I don't. I'm just saying.
Curious.
I'm just saying as a proud Southerner.
Yeah.
It's our Southern charm.
I love it. I love everybody here. I love to say, and people love the saying, is that Tennessee is the closest thing to heaven without dying. And I really mean it. It truly is.
Well, and we all have great families, but the church, because you spend so much time there, they become your family. When you don't have family around to help out. I mean, yesterday we were in desperate need of help, and Jennifer helped us picking up kids and doing things.
You want to tell them what your parents said?
But that's what the body's for. I mean, that's what the church is.
Yeah.
The church.
And we we literally were talking about this, how sometimes we were looking around at a room full of people, or at a wedding, and thinking about some of the different couples there and how you don't really see or hear that much about their blood relatives, maybe because of where they are in life or where they live or different things, but how connected. And I said, it's like their family is truly inside the church. That is your family and your connection. So
last year for our first Christmas, we'll do that. Jack was raised that only your family, like your immediate family, comes to Christmas dinner. Like Christmas dinner.
What story are you telling?
Relax. So I told him when we got our own house,
like
if anybody was going to be alone for Christmas after the morning presents, they're welcome to come to our house. Gosh, nobody should be alone. And that's how I was raised. Nobody should be alone for Christmas.
Right.
So whatever. So with that policy that we created with our new house here in Tennessee, we had. And this is coming here from May last year when we first got here.
And we're like, oh, so-and-so. Oh, so what do you do where do you go for Christmas? Oh, nowhere. I just don't have family anymore. I'm like, oh, well, why don't you come over to our house? Mm-hmm. And that got over to these people, and these people had nowhere to go. And they're like, hey, you know what? The so-and-sos, they don't have family either. Yeah. Maybe they can, bring that family over, sure.
Gift of hospitality, maybe?
20 people. For Christmas
20
dinner.
people.
That's great.
Don't
you love it though?
It was amazing. And it was, they were at our house till like 9.
Were you a little bit bitter?
No, I'm okay. We love to entertain. So I'm like the back. He does the cooking. I'm not a cook. No.
She brings cereal.
Yeah. I'll go buy a pie. Yeah. Okay. Or vegetables, whatever. So 20 people at our house and my parents are coming. Right. And I tell my mom, I'm like, we got people coming to our house for Christmas, and I know you're going to be here. And she says, just as long as your dad has a seat, that's all I care about. I'm like, well, I'm not putting a sign on my seat for my dad. So if dad wants to sit there all night, I love you. That's good.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't move.
He's got to stay planted.
Yeah, that's not your seat, so I wouldn't move. So you better hold it yourself.
So realize, 20 people in our house, no furniture because it's all broken up in our living room furniture. So we have folding tables, we have chairs that I got to borrow from Russellville, Kentucky, from our break room. So, it was amazing. It was a really good time. My parents got to see the true Tennessee Southern love that was there because it was just like we had known these people for years.
That's great.
And so my parents came back this year for 4th of July, and they stayed in our house 27 days.
Give or take.
That should be illegal.
That's a lengthy stay.
Wait. You got to cut that out.
What he meant to say was...
It was awesome.
We love them.
It's the best 27 days since you have lived here.
Yeah.
I wasn't done. It should be illegal. They should stay for 31. A full month.
There you go. The invitation's back out.
So So they were here for 27 days, and they got to see how busy our life was. Mm-hmm. And, my dad, literally was just so exhausted from running around.
Crazy.
He's like, because we, our only free nights right now are Tuesday and Thursday. Mm-hmm. That's it. And he's like, you know, my mom, he says, their life is so busy. I don't want to ever be like that. Mm-hmm. It's just so exhausting. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, do they not remember when I was in high school, I was constantly running them around too? I have a high schooler.
Well, is it the perspective of, is it busy or is it full? You have a full life.
Yeah. Well, we're constantly on the go. We're juggling between, going, we go to church 3-4 days a week now. Not just to go to church, but Bible study. Then Jack's got to go to church or whatever. And my dad's like, I guess, that was the night where we went Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Jack had an event on Friday night. And he's like, well, Jack really spends a lot of time at that church. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he's connecting with his fellow people and his people he's going to be doing life with. And he's like, well, I kind of guess it keeps me out of trouble. And I'm like, well, it narrows it down.
Yeah. And I'm like, I said, look, this is where we do life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We eat with these people and we play with these people. We laugh with these people. I said, it just happens to be we all go to the same church. Yeah. But it was interesting. We have unbeliever friends and that we hang out with and that we really love and care about. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting. I analyze things too much, and we invited them over for Christmas dinner to join us too. And yet it wasn't the same. They felt out of place. They just didn't relax and kind of fit in. And I'm like, and I felt really bad because they're such great people. They have hearts as big as everybody in that room. And yet there's something missing. And I don't know how to explain that. And I can't explain it to them. And I felt really bad. But they were good people. But, and you know Tony at church?
Tony.
The parking lot Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah, now he
he's
runs the parking lot.
now.
Yeah.
He's head of parking lot.
Oh,
So,
yes. Pretty fancy.
He's not one to go out and be with people, and he's more of an introvert. And we're really close. I met him the morning of the men's breakfast.
Oh, that's
He
cool.
sat next to me, and we bonded in 5 minutes. He goes, I've never bonded with a guy. I wanted to hang out. Let's go do breakfast and all that. Anyway, he came to our house. He stayed all night, the whole night.
He was the life of the party.
He was the life.
Oh my gosh, everybody was around him.
And he said that was the best Christmas I've ever had.
Oh,
and I'm
very
like,
cool.
so that's kind of
That's what
all
it's
of it in
about.
a nutshell
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's been crazy
story.
life.
Yeah.
So Tammy has a normal job. Jack is on YouTube and has somewhat of a
Tough drive up the stairs going to work.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to comb his hair. Get ready.
Yeah. That's about it. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And, it is. It's funny. It's definitely God orchestrates things and puts people in your life. And, Jack and I have talked. It wasn't coincidence that we met up and had a connection. And we definitely have a love of food. And I'm sure we'll eat many more meals together over the course of the years to come. So we love you guys. Thank you for coming on and being with us and sharing your story.
We love you guys too. Thank
love
you
you
so
too.
much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was great.
So definitely check out Jack's sauces. I'm telling you won't regret it.
And isn't the teriyaki, is it low sodium or is it?
Yes, low sodium
Which
compared to
I
most.
puff up
and
like
low
a
in sugar.
puffer fish. So I
Yes.
appreciate that greatly.
Yeah.
It's really
So good. So check Jack out. YouTube, Cooking with Jack, Jack on the Go, the website for your sauces, best sauces ever,
Thebestsauces.com.
bestsauces.com. So you can go and order them there. Or if you're local, just tell him and he'll bring them to you at church.
Or come by the house.
Or come by the house, that's
I have
right.
an open door policy. I'm in Tennessee now.
Yeah.
If the garage is open, the house is open.
And I know where you live when I run because I see the van.
Yes.
Like, oh, that's,
You can't
that's
miss
their
his
house
van.
right
It's
there,
wrapped.
right
Oh,
there.
that's
yeah.
true, huh?
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening. We've been getting some good feedback this week, and just crazy spike in traffic this week, and lots of downloads and views on the videos, and so lots of people stopping at church this week just randomly and asking questions. So it's been good. It's been exciting, and we will, starting in October, the last Sunday of each month, we're going to have a new thing that we're doing called the Marriage Toolbox, where we'll sit down with Jason and Jennifer and we'll go over some of the foundational things that we go over in Marriage 101 life group that we do. So be sure to check that out. We'll talk about what a biblical marriage is and the purpose for a biblical marriage. We'll talk about finances and sex and love and
Let's talk
respect
about sex,
and
baby.
Hey, that's
And Crystal.
copyright infringement.
Was it that long?
That's it. Yeah. Monetized now.
It's over. So she had to go there. And you just left Jason hanging. He had his hand up.
Great. YouTube just changed your rating.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. So check us out, SundayEveningCoffee.com. Send us an email. Let us know what you think about the show and any feedback. We'd love to hear at SundayEveningCoffee@gmail.com. So as always, go to iTunes, review, rate, subscribe. That does make a difference. And I say this, and I don't mean it from a haughty standpoint, but seriously, subscribe, because I would love to have good Christian content be up in the new and noteworthy as opposed to some of the stuff that's out there. So go check that out. And again, thanks to Jack and Tammy for being here, and Jason and Jennifer as always. And we will see you guys next week. Have a good night.